What's going on, everyone? And welcome back to another episode of Country with Celine. So excited to have this next guest on the podcast today, Becca Hess. Becca, how are you
Hi,
today?
I'm good. I'm excited to finally be on your show.
I'm so excited to finally have you on. We met at the BCCMAs not too long ago. I
hmm
was back in May, and we're finally here. Now we're
I
on.
know.
We love it.
I know. It's great.
Before we dive into your latest single, I also want to talk about because you sang the anthem at our Abbotsford Canucks game.
Did.
So
Yeah.
I gotta ask because I am so curious when it comes to artists because I know so many artists are so against the anthem. Rightfully
Yeah.
so, because I was with the Vancouver Giants, and I'm not going to drop names here. Actually, I will drop names here because everybody knows. But Michael Bublé, one of the owners, he will not sing the anthem. He's like so against it, will never sing. And so I'm always so curious, like, why do you sing the anthem? Are you not nervous? Like, what goes through your head? Because if you mess up, that is everywhere. So, like,
Yes.
why do you say yes to it? And do you get nervous? Please tell me.
So, a couple of things. I think number one, people are way less nervous and more inclined to sing the Canadian anthem than the US anthem. And that's purely because the American anthem is significantly harder to sing. It has a huge range, and there's literally like usually one key that a singer can sing it in. And for me, that one key was like playing in my ear over and over again, just my starting note.
Yeah.
And I also had never done the American anthem live like that before. So I was also looking at the lyrics because the Abbotsford Canucks called me like 2 hours before I needed to be on. And I was like, no time to be nervous, just happening.
That's
um,
live entertainment for you.
yeah, exactly. So I'm like, okay, don't forget the lyrics, don't fall, and start at the right key. And I did all three of those, and it was great, and it was super fun to do. But I don't blame people for not doing it because I think a lot of people watch someone sing the anthem and are waiting for them to mess up for the content.
No, seriously. I mean, it's also, I
Yeah.
guess there are some people that kind of wait for that, but then there's also us that work there. We're like, please sing it correctly. Please sing it correctly.
Yes.
Do not mess it up. Because, well, from where I was standing, I'm right in the crowd. So if when someone does kind of butcher it, you just see everybody like look around and they're like, what?
Just one of these. Yeah.
Like, because then it goes back on us, right? Because it's like, wouldn't you get
Fair.
somebody
Yeah.
that can sing the anthem? Although it's not our fault, and it's not even. It just happens. Sometimes it happens.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
get it. The American anthem, I can see how that is a lot more difficult to sing than just "O Canada." Plus, being a Canadian, we sing "O Canada." We've been singing "O Canada" since
Totally.
elementary school. But
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
we
So
don't.
everyone in the room is kind of waiting with bated breath and that pressure for either, are you going to mess up, or, oh, I hope you do really good. Like we can feel that. And then there's a whole other element to singing in an arena, which is the echo. So for those of you that are out in the crowd, you kind of hear that echo happening. For us, we hear ourselves in our own head, then you can hear yourselves outside of your own head, and then you can hear an echo. So you need to differentiate and like focus on the voice in your head and keep your own time, which for anybody who hasn't sang in an arena, the first time you do that kickback is like it's very like disorienting. Yeah.
Oh, I'm so glad you mentioned that actually because I deal with that on a regular basis.
Yeah.
And talking is very difficult sometimes, but singing, I don't think I would be able to sing it because the echo is really delayed. Like it's delayed
Yes.
by a couple of seconds. And yeah,
Yeah.
people don't realize that because you
Yeah.
have your in-ears. Well, there's no in-ears for Abby
No.
fans.
No.
So, but sometimes, like I know when you do the Vancouver Canucks, they have in-ears. Well, some artists have
hmm
in-ears for
hmm
them. But yeah, no, it's difficult. But you slayed it. You did a great job,
Thank you.
especially for it to be so last minute. I give you credit.
I feel like that was for the best because there was just no time.
There
There was
was
no time to be stressed out about it. I work as an orthodontic treatment coordinator during the day, so I'm literally like taking x-rays and have an Apple Watch on and was like, "Can you come and sing?" And I'm like, yeah, I will be right there."
Do you live near the arena?
I'm like 5 minutes from there. Yeah.
Okay.
So it worked out. That was okay. I had my hair like still wet in a bun and was like, so it was a quick straightening job. It was throwing on a blazer. You guys gave me a shirt and handed me a mic, and it was great. And then that was it.
See, you can be the e-bug for Abby
Yeah,
when we need an anthem singer, which
totally.
you might need one. So stay tuned because
Yeah,
clearly the team is doing a good job. So,
that's good.
but anyways, okay, enough about that. I was just curious, and that was my curiosity taking me away down
Yeah.
that little route there. But back to you. You released your latest single called Reno not too long ago, and
Yes.
first single out since 2023. So it's been a couple of years. So I got to add, oh, also,
Yes.
it went to radio. So congrats on that. That's
Yes.
good.
Thank
Love
you.
that. Yeah, no, of course.
Yeah.
So
Thank you.
why was this the song that what was so special about this song where like, you know what, I want to come back and put out a song and this is the song that I want out there.
Totally. Yeah. So originally it wasn't supposed to be as much of a break as it was. I got funding through Creative BC and the province of British Columbia to record a couple of songs, which I did. And then it was like there was a sort of final destination slash big plague over top of myself and like the group of people that were working on this record of these two songs. Um, and long story short, everybody's fine now, but there was like multiple hospitalizations. There was so many things happening where it kept having like major delays. And the song ended up getting delayed by a whole year. So it was supposed to come out in 24. But I'm a firm believer that things happen at the right time for the right reasons. So that's why there was a 2 year break instead of a typical like 6 month to 9 month break between songs. Number two, the reason Reno even came to be was because I often fill my sets on festival stages with a really up tempo, super fun, like 90s country song. And I thought, I love doing those covers. Don't get me wrong. I was born and raised listening to that and, performing that. But I was like, I really want my own like festival bop. I really want something that's super fun, that feels like summer, that can land on every like road trip party time playlist this summer, but still feels like me. And so that's why I ended up writing Reno, and I'm ready to put it out for the summer.
No, that's exciting. It is a bop. It really is a
Yeah.
bop. So
Thank you.
yeah, you're welcome. But so you wrote this song I was reading in your basement. It just the idea just popped into your head, or was there?
We're here in my basement. Yeah. I
You know
have like
what?
my little like home office, home studio space
I mean,
that's
really
down
cool.
here. And so that's typically where I end up writing. Usually my two pugs are like snoring on the couch. So half of my work tapes have like snoring and in the background.
That's too fun.
Um, but yeah, I don't even like, so I went for Halloween, I dressed up like Katy Perry because I had adult braces and I got headgear, like actual real headgear, just for the fun of it. Thanks to Abby Ortho. Commit to the bit. It hurt, but it was so funny. And we were all talking about like, waking up in Vegas and like how much music she's put out in the meantime and had this massive career. And we're like, man, we should go to Vegas. I'm like, I am too broke for Vegas. I'm an independent artist. Like, I am too broke for Vegas. We should go to Reno. And it just sort of sparked this whole like, what if, the whole like girls' trip to Vegas was we're going to go to Reno. We're going to drink with the early birds. We're going to, rent a car and drive down there and just like cheap and cheerful, have like the most fun. And that just sort of spurred this waking up in Reno idea.
Did you actually end up going? Was this a real girls' trip?
No, because now
Oh,
I'm too broke for Reno too. I put all my money into putting the song out and recording the song, and I'm hoping that we can make it to Reno. I think it'll be really fun. But
I feel
when it
like
came time to like record the video, we went to the Okanagan because it kind of is like desert vibes and still looks like Reno.
fair enough. You know what? I was looking at that. I'm like, oh, it was definitely giving desert vibes. But I think that for the music video, whenever you have the money, because I know how it can be sometimes, and like
Hmm.
being a singer, it's money. It costs a lot of money to put
Yeah,
out.
yeah,
But so whenever you have that, please go to Reno and record the music video. That'd be awesome. You just driving in like some
it
sort
would be
of
so fun.
convertible. Yeah, and
Yeah.
going to bed early and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, it would be so fun. I've never been, so I'm hoping, maybe the city of Reno is going to hear this and be like, "We're going to sponsor you. You can come down. We'll give you a key to the city. It'll be great."
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, the key to the city. Oh, you're the key to the Canadian for sure.
Yeah.
Um,
The Canadian ambassador for Reno.
yeah. Well, I mean, I don't think any other person has written a song about Reno, so you're probably the first one.
Perhaps, yeah.
Perhaps I think so. I mean, we can deep dive that after, but I'm pretty sure let's wrote a song about that place. I was looking it up on the map too because I'm like, I've heard of Reno. I don't know where it is though, but
Hmm.
I've heard it. And then I found it. It's like it's not even near Vegas. I thought it was somewhere
No,
else. No.
no, it's and I mean I guess that's why it's like cheaper, but
Oh,
even when I was looking at different like props and looks and stuff for the music video, I was trying to find like actual Reno stuff. And incredibly, I ended up finding this jacket, which I haven't put that much of that video out yet, but I ended up finding this jacket that's like a, you know, like the satin like player's jacket that you'd have like for Abbey
oh,
Canucks or
yeah.
whoever. And it's for a casino in Reno for like their members only club. And I found it in Abbotsford. This like sweet old man, his wife bought it and she passed, and he was like selling some of her stuff. And he was so excited that it was going to kind of have its own life. And it ended up in the music video. So yeah, random, but lots of Vegas stuff. Hard to find Reno stuff.
So cute
I
though. Oh my
know.
gosh. At my heart, he was probably so happy.
I stood and talked to him for a while, and I don't know, I'm like a big suck. I'm such an emotional knapsack about everything. And he's telling me about his wife, and I was like, I'm gonna take such good care of this jacket. Like, it's gonna be so special. Yeah.
I can frame it for you after. Like, oh, that is
Yeah.
adorable. Yeah.
It's really sweet.
Whenever,
Funny how the world works though, right?
yeah. Like, so did you put out, like, how did you even discover that? Did you write it on like social media and like looking for Reno stuff, or how did you?
I searched everything. I was on eBay, I was online, I was on, you know, Marketplace and Etsy and all kinds of things trying to find like vintage Reno stuff. I wanted to get like a cup so I could have all the coins from the slot machines. I was trying to find like hats or things, you know, ashtrays or things that would be like in a motel. Because we had the motel picked out. The Beaumont in Penticton hosted us, and they were so wonderful. They have this really cute, like retro motel. If you want to have a fun weekend, definitely head up there. So we kind of filled it with, I found like this vintage postcard and like a few different things that kind of made it feel like Reno, even though we weren't in Reno, which is just like movie magic.
Yeah,
That's the way it works. Yeah.
awesome. No,
Yeah.
super exciting stuff. Well, I have to know though, are you working towards a project, an EP? Like what is the goal this year, 2025?
Yeah. Fair enough. For right now, I think where I'm at in my career, I really like being able to put songs out every, you know, 6 to 9 months, give it everything I have, so that it has this run at radio, and kind of continue out with singles so that I'm not necessarily tying one to the other. So the two songs that I did really couldn't be more different, but they are both very much me. The other one's like more traditional country. It's a ballad, which is very me. And it's not really meant for radio. And I'm really excited for that one too, for its own reasons. So for these two songs, anyways, this like recording project was built as two singles. But I have lots of songs I'm writing all the time, and you know have been doing this for I don't know, like 15 years, like a long time. So I've gotten to put out an EP and a full length record, and I'm sure I'll get back to doing that again. But for now, I'm enjoying kind of, I don't know, just going with the ideas and then letting those have their own life.
Well, you have a 9 to 5 job that you were just
I
saying.
do. Yeah.
Also, you're an artist on the side. So how do you balance both of them? Like, is there, because you were also saying that you still write as well. So is there
Yep.
one specific day that you just write off, like you're not going into work and you just sit there and dedicate it straight to music? Or is it like your 5 to 9 after your 9 to 5? How do you balance it
Pretty
all?
much, yeah. Yeah, it's tough to do. I mean, it's tough all around to be an indie artist, but it's also really fulfilling to do it that way. To be able to make those choices for myself and just to not be kind of put in a box. I've had the producer deal. I've had the, you know, a bit of the team before, and they were all wonderful. And I think for me, being able to really be my own person as an artist is fantastic. I've also done the gigging thing where I was a full-time artist. And so for me, I chose to have a 9 to 5. I chose to go to school through COVID and train myself into like a whole new career because obviously with COVID, everything changed and we stopped doing shows. I also stopped working in production. So I had this sort of like complete 180 at that time. And it really changed how I saw my time as an artist. I actually have more time to perform on the weekends because I'm not, I'm not tied into like production events. But as far as writing, that is whenever it shows up. Sometimes it's the middle of the night and I'm like half asleep and I'm singing into a voice note that I'll then like develop later. Sometimes I'm at work and I literally have my watch and I'm like, like whatever it is that I have this idea that I have to kind of, it sort of drives the bus. But I definitely spend all weekend, every weekend, mornings before I go to work, sometimes on my lunch break, after work when I come home, doing all the things that is required of, being an active artist.
Does the melody come first or do the lyrics come first? Like what? Because I know it's different for
Mm.
some artists. Some artists, it's the lyrics and some it's the melody. I think for me, it would be more the melody. What do you think?
It really depends. Yeah, I would say sometimes I just sort of have something in my head, and as I'm singing it, words are sort of holding the place, and then I'll kind of replace them and edit them out later. Um, so yeah, I feel like it's the melody. Every once in a while, I have like a hook, and I would say that the hook is both the melody and the lyrics. And the beautiful thing with writing is that at any point you can decide like, oh no, this is better. I'm a firm believer in editing your own work and coming back to it a few days later in like a different space and going, no, I think I have a better line there. I grew up with my dad as a songwriter, and so I learned from, a seasoned professional, and he was hard on me as a writer and as an artist, but I think in all like the best ways. So for his mentors that were hard on him about being the best, I kind of have taken that on for myself as well. So whatever comes first, it does get adjusted kind of as I go to make sure it's the absolute best final version.
So is that how you got into music because of your dad?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I was like completely born into music. My sister Kate and I would literally go on the road with him when we were kids, and like he'd start singing a song and he'd be like, oh, it's on this CD. And I would sit there and like hold his CD up and be like, Free Child Labor and also like Van White, and be like, this is the song. And yeah, so we would like sell his merch at his shows. We'd help him set up his lights and stuff like from a little kid. So I grew up with that. I grew up watching him be, a big like Nashville record deal artist and back to being an independent artist. And I think that's probably where my mentality of choosing to be an independent artist comes, because as as much as it's art for me and it feeds me in like a soulful kind of way, I also want to be able to continue doing it for a long time. So I also treat it like a business so that it literally feeds me.
Does your dad still write songs or is he
Oh
like,
yeah, yeah. Yeah, he still writes, he still tours. He probably, I don't know how many shows a year he plays now because he's like in his early 60s, but he tours for 3 or 4 months every single year still to this day.
wow, oh
Yeah.
my gosh, I love that. Go,
Yeah.
dad. That's awesome.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
speak Nashville, like an artist, like a songwriter down in Nashville, did you travel a lot to Nashville when you were younger than with him or no?
I actually never went with him. He was protective of us in all of the right ways, I think, as far as like making sure that if we wanted to be in the music industry as an individual. I remember him telling me when I was like, yeah, I want to be a singer, I want to be an artist, when I'm like 14, 15, whatever, and I started writing. He's like, okay, well, do you want like a tour bus and like the Spice Girls boots, or do you actually want to be like a musician? Do you want to be a songwriter? And I was like, rude, both, but okay. He's like, I want to make sure that you want to be like an artist for the right reasons, because it's a brutal business. And you really need to be in it for reasons that like make you who you are as a person, and not for the fame and not for the accolades, and because that may or may not come, and it's so cyclical, like there's only so much room at the top at any given time. So he kind of kept us separate from that growing up. We went to tons of his shows and like went with him across Canada, but we didn't really do the Nashville thing with him. So then when I started going to Nashville, I was probably like 20-ish and ended up actually from the Canadian Country Music Awards, ended up getting picked up by a producer named Byron Hill, who's like a massive Nashville songwriter. He wrote Full Hearted Memory for George Strait, like incredible songwriter. So I ended up working with him and another amazing songwriter named Roger Brown, and we did that for years, and developed some songs that ended up on my last record. And yeah, so I spent a ton of time flying back and forth to Nashville for that. Never moved there. It made the most sense for me to still come home and be here and do the back and forth thing. But yeah, I did that for years, and then I like that big shift happened where I needed to now have a 9 to 5. I think all artists kind of had those couple of years where we're like, okay, what's the plan? You get a little freaked out when you're like, I'm not working and there is no industry for me to work in. And some people went to the trades and I guess I ended up in dental.
Yeah, well, you know what? I would have even thought of dental because you weren't allowed to go near anybody, like, and let alone a
Yeah.
medic. What I mean? So I feel like,
It was something that I sort of fell backwards into, working, producing a music festival. I was the director of operations for the Rock and River Music Fest for 10 years. And so that was not happening. My music career was like on pause. Everything was sort of at a halt. But all of my skills that I had from running this festival and producing, music events across like Western Canada, all of that organization and communication skills applied to organizing treatment. So I was really lucky that office was like, hey, we're going to train you all about teeth. I was like, I mean, I've had braces, but
we
they're like,
love
we'll train you
that.
all of that. Yeah. But they're like, instead of managing, music events, you can manage people's treatment plans. And I definitely put in the hours to educate myself and get me to where I am now. But it's a wonderful career to have. And they're super supportive of me as an artist. So yeah, I think most artists are whatever level they're at, they're still doing something else. I mean, Jess Moskaluk is still choosing to do nails and her permanent jewelry. Like everybody has something. They have a line of something that they're selling. They have they're doing vocal editing or back like they're doing other things because it's really hard, even with a label, even with top 20s, like it's really hard to financially support yourself as an artist.
It's very hard to financially support yourself until you have that one hit single that skyrockets into more hit singles. Then
Yeah.
that's when you can finally just relax and know, okay,
Yeah.
music full time. I can sustain a life by doing music like this. And it takes a while to get there. Like we've heard so many stories, like artists have been releasing and writing,
Hmm.
recording songs for like 10 plus years and all it takes and having a 9 to 5 during all of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then it just takes that one song and that one song kind of just catapults them into this other realm where they can actually sustain a healthy and good lifestyle.
For sure.
Not
Yeah.
going to like not having any money issues or anything like that. But that's awesome. I'm really glad that you got into music. I'll say that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are a
Thanks.
great musician. So, I mean, because sometimes, look, I'll be honest here. Sometimes you have certain artists where you're like, I don't know. But then also you have a good chunk where you're like, yeah, damn straight, they should be a singer. They should be writing songs. Their songs are good. It's not just that typical mumbo jumbo, typical country
Yeah.
stuff. There's actual substance to writing. And then you have artists that can sing as well. And I feel like you're in that category where you can sing
Thanks.
and you can write songs. And kudos to your dad. I still can't get over that. That's awesome. That I had no idea that he was a songwriter. So it's great that he kind of threw you into that. Like not really threw you into that because he wanted to keep you kind of sort of
Yeah.
not in it, but then eventually when you realized, okay, I want to do it not just for the materialistic things, but for the
Right. For the right reasons.
and then that's how it all happened. But speaking of,
Yeah.
I know you brought up Rock and River, so obviously that
Yeah.
was a big festival here and
Hmm.
big one. I'm sad that it's no longer a thing. I
I
want to
know.
go to that, but that's okay.
Did you didn't get to go, you said?
No, I've never gotten to go because I came to BC when like after COVID, so it was done.
Okay. So you missed it.
Yeah, I missed it. I would have loved to have gone because I've only
You
ever
would have thrived.
It would have been so fun. The funny thing is living in BC, you still have the sign up on
I
the
know.
but this like old looking barn, and then it says Rock and Fish, and it's like Jason Aldean, Maren Morris, and I don't know who the third person was.
Oh, I know.
That's, I mean, that must like take you back sometimes when you see that. It's like a time capsule just like stuck there. And why hasn't
Yeah.
nobody gotten rid of it? I don't understand.
I don't know. Honestly, it's probably because my dad is so independent, I'm going to say, so stubborn, that he did everything his own way. The whole festival grew very, very grassroots. It started in Mission. He, as an artist, played the Merritt Mountain Music Festival, which was huge in BC. He played that for like 18 years. So I grew up kind of going to that show with him. And I mean, that stage is insane. Like Johnny Cash has played that stage. And so then that shut down. And years later, we started up in Mission, and then we outgrew Mission and we moved up to Merritt, back to kind of like the sacred grounds, you know. And he, right from the beginning, when it was, you know, 1,000 people went to this show, he was literally like in his office with his whiteboard, and someone would call in and be like, okay, I'm gonna buy tickets, and he'd be like, okay, you're the first one to call, front row center. And he would like write it down and put it on the board and like mail them their tickets or hand deliver them, is how it all started. um Crazy. And then it grew into this massive 4-day festival where we had Willie Nelson on our stage, and like absolute massive artists. A lot of that's what's behind me, of like all these artists that we got to work with. You know, and I started out like filling ice and water and pop and stuff for them, and just kind of, you know, working in hospitality, and then grew up with that because the same thing happened there. He was like, all right, this is a big deal. This is a big business. And he's not just going to kind of hand me the keys. Right. So I grew up running that festival to the point where, yeah, we were partnered with Live Nation, and we were a really big event. And then COVID happened, and the city of Merritt flooded. And so the property flooded, and there was so much damage. And those two things just we were unable to recover from that, which is honestly heartbreaking. But they were some of the best years of my life doing that show. I got to hire all my friends and build this incredible team. And yeah, we would have had you back there interviewing people.
I would have loved to have gone there. Merritt flooded? I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah, Merritt flooded. I don't know the exact year, but it was within that COVID time, because we were, you know, the 2020 show, I believe, was supposed to be Keith Urban. So that got postponed because everything did. And then 21, I think 21 also got postponed. It might have been in 21 that the big flood happened. Forgive me, I don't know exactly when the date was, but you know, we had like 6,000 campsites on our property, and it's all like there was riverfront campsites, and like it was just such a beautiful property and infrastructure there, that, you know, coming back to that banner on the side of the highway, that my dad literally was like staple gunning that up. Like he's the one getting banners printed and like climbing ladders in cowboy boots, and like he's nuts.
Well,
He's
that's
nuts,
all
and
I'm
he's
gonna think about now. Next time I drive there, is that your dad did
yeah,
that. Like, if anybody tries to
seriously.
touch it, I'm like, don't touch it. We'll leave it
I
there.
know. I'm like, I don't even know who owns that barn. Like, but there's one there, and there's still one up in Merritt, and both of those are like the relics that are still out from it. But
Do you think,
yeah,
do you think that you'll ever, like your family will ever start up another festival here in BC or maybe even elsewhere?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I feel like, you know, it takes a long time to build an event to that size. And like respectfully, dad's, you know, in his 60s, and like I'm gonna try to like kung fu him off of doing that idea, because I'm sure if I was like, let's do it, he would be ready to go tomorrow. But I think like physically and mentally, like to have another 10 years of putting in the work that he put in for that show. Because when I say like we ran the festival, like we weren't sitting at our computers, like, you know, telling people, hey, we need this, and this, like literally building bare hands that festival. And, you know, we're super proud of what happened there. It had this incredible magic there, and this really cool reputation of a festival that was run by artists for artists. You know, so all the big Nashville artists were coming up and going like, man, we've been so excited to do this date on this run. Like we've heard all about it. Our buddies that, you know, we toured with, they told us, and, you know, we really just tried to make it fun. And that was like just super, super special. But I don't think we could recreate that at all,
Well, I'm
ever.
sure everybody that artist wise and fan wise, like they'll never forget that. So I'm
Hmm.
glad that if they got to experience that, that's something that, a yes, again, they'll never forget. And you
Yeah.
guys did that for them. So, I mean, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
But kind of sticking with festivals and upcoming shows because it is summer. And before I let you go, we got to chat about this. So, do you have any shows lined up for the summer where you're playing so people can catch you?
I don't have any festivals that I am announcing at this time.
There.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, you know what? I play all kinds of shows because I just honestly love to sing. So I also do like lounge shows where I get to go in and just sing like beautiful, you know, Adele and Nora Jones and stuff like that while people like chat. And honestly, I'm happy to be wallpaper music. I love doing it because I just, um, at the end of the day, I'm a vocalist, and so I've got some of those coming up. But yeah, as far as like festival stuff with the band, nothing I'm announcing at this time.
Okay.
You have
Well,
to keep an eye out.
yes, exactly. I was just about to plug it. So yes, if you want to check out where Becca is playing, she'll soon hopefully announce some festival catch her. But in the meantime, I'm sure you're going to be posting like little like bars or lounges or wherever you are playing.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
So they can definitely catch it there and listen to her latest single, Reno. It's very catchy, and trust me, you are going to add it to your
Yes.
playlist, especially the summer playlist. And again, it's going to be streamed on radio now. So once
Yep.
again, congratulations on that, and thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for hopping on Country with Celine. It was lovely chatting with you.
Thank you, Celine.